Some of you may know who Just Stop Oil are. Some of you may be in contact with them, unfortunately for you. And some of you actually may have only just seen them on the internet. Most of them are manipulated kids, all right? And there are some adults who are also equally manipulated. There are some very, very weak-willed bonkers. Some of them are borderline insane, I would suggest. But nevertheless, a lot of them have joined this cult because they've got some sort of, they feel they belong to something. Because when you look at them, they're not the most normal creatures in the world. But this one worries me. Itchy nose. This one here is a doctor, and a doctor from London. Now, she's a bit of a hypocrite, actually, talking about this. But listen to what she's got to say.
Can you tell me why you're here today?
Yeah, I'm a doctor. I'm in London. Here on the day of annual leave. I don't really want to be here. It's not very pleasant. I wish I didn't have to come to this. But we know that fossil fuels are initially across the world will end life on Earth, basically, unless we end our use of them.
Well, excellent. Well done. Congratulations. Fossil fuels are terrible. So you yourself are doing everything within your power to stop the impact of fossil fuels. I'm sure you are, because you wouldn't be a hypocrite now, would you? No. Oh, there we go. Big Pharma and how much energy it uses. As such, the industry is currently spending more than $1 billion on energy consumption every year, and it's generated 55% more emissions than the automotive industry, maintaining a high product quality while reducing the cost that can be challenged from many pharma. Right, there you go. There's one thing. Now, we could always go down a history lesson. Why is oil involved in Big Pharma? Well, Big Pharma was pushed mainly in the beginning by a certain Rockefeller man. What was he? Oh, yeah. He was into oil, wasn't he? And he realized that the production of Big Pharma used huge sums of oil, different variations, but oil nevertheless. And into some of the other stuff that went in to do with this, like plastics and other things like that. And he very quickly put a large amount of money into pushing Big Pharma and doing away with the more traditional methods that there were out there, holistic methods. Say, for instance, why is it that you can't, well, why is it that weed's illegal? Well, actually, weed was somewhat made illegal by his help over there. But what does weed actually do when used properly? Well, actually, it's alleged by many, and including some scientists and stuff, that it's good for the treatment of this, that, and the other. And if I say so on here, I'll get done for medical misinformation. So I can't name what they're actually useful for. However, apparently it is. And apparently you can even get it via prescription. However, what he wanted to do was, because before medicine came out as such, there was the natural stuff at the side of the road, in the bushes, hedgerows and stuff that if you combine things, they actually worked. But you can't patent it. And a lot of it wouldn't use oil. So he did his best to discredit that and made a big deal out of it. And if you remember none of us here will remember because we're not old enough. But, the 1930s onwards, 40s, 50s, medicine really started taking leaps and bounds. But they really, really went out their way to say, one of these a day will make you better, or try this and it'll make you better, or do this and it'll make you better. And, are you feeling down? You need to use whatever it is. Massive campaigns, okay? And a lot of it would have been funded by the types of people like himself. And this is why they made sure they went out their way to stop people going for the more natural methods. But there you go. But this woman, obviously so worried about fossil fuels and the damage that he uses, as a doctor, every prescription that she'll put out will have a carbon footprint. What does she think about that? I mean, surely that she should probably be looking down the more holistic way of doing things. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's the awkward part about the fact that it doesn't pay that well, and you might not get a pension out of it, and rah-de-rah. And the money that they make as a doctor. Yeah, very hypocritical, I'd suggest. Now, while I don't know everything about Rockefeller and his involvement in the pharmaceuticals, it's all out there for you to look for. I mean, they haven't been able to erase that. And if you want to have a look at the pharmaceuticals' impact on global warming, if you want to call it that, well, let's just call it how much shit they put out there. All right. If you want to look into that, you'll find that they're right up there. And, a woman like that, it would be a bit like me having a steam engine, right? And belching that thing out with smoke and saying we need to do our bit for the planet. It's the same for me anyway. There it is. But have any of you actually seen these Just Stop Oil people up close? I mean, I'm lucky enough I haven't. But when you actually have a look at them video, they're a bit. Just look into their eyes, and you can see a world of torment there. You can see all sorts of stuff going on behind the scenes, and I feel sorry for myself. And let's be honest, they've been used as useful idiots to bring attention to a cause that makes globalists billions and billions a year. I mean, global taxes are, well, there were trillions actually, globally. We all have to pay into this thing that helps the thing. How does it help the thing? I mean, does all that money go back to Mother Nature and she says, well, I'll tell you what, for all that money you've paid me, I'll fix the problem? No, of course it doesn't. But all these people and places that get taxed, huge sums of money, how exactly does that money get reinvested to help us out exactly? And incidentally, if you're so worried about it, why isn't you don't go over to the countries that are chucking it out, China and other parts of the world? Why is it you can't hold them? Oh, yeah, that's right, because you get all your cheap shit from them. So never mind, we'll turn and look at ourselves for a while and tax ourselves and beat ourselves up a bit more. Yeah. What about India, eh? What about India? India's footprint. Oh, and then when you want to talk about the oceans, have you ever seen them just back shoveling plastics and shit just straight into this large current of water that then takes it out into the oceans? And that's the stuff that we've got problems with. You know, pollution into the oceans, I can get with that. That's very bad. And incidentally, there was a kiddie that come up with a way that you could take this plastic out of the bottom of the ocean and suck it up. Well, he got shut up really quickly, didn't he? Because if you get rid of the problem, well, then you can't tax everybody on it, can you? So is it actually about fixing the planet and cleaning it up? Or is it more about just taxing every fucker? I'll go with the latter. But that's just because I'm cynical. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'll see you in a bit.